Hello everyone, Board Game Lawyer here, and I'm in the mood to play some Marvel Champions. And today I'm going to be playing on my beautiful playmat here that was provided to me from the Marvel Champions Monthly podcast crew. Probably the most colorful and brilliant playmat I have in my collection, and it's illustrated by Jonathan Rector. But anyway, let's play some Marvel Champions today. What do you say? So today we're going to go back to basics. We're going to use Rhino in expert form. And Rhino comes out into play with 15 hit points on him. And he reads, when revealed, search the encounter deck and discard pile for the breaking and taken side scheme. And reveal it. And shuffle the encounter deck. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to bring out the breaking and taken side scheme. It says, when revealed, place an additional 1 threat here. And it has a hazard icon on it, meaning I get +1 encounter card during the villain phase. So it comes out into play with 3 threat on it. And we also will be playing with the main scheme, which is the break-in. But instead of including the modular encounter set bomb scare today, I've decided to add something that's going to be much more challenging. And that is one of my newest modular sets that I received, and it's the Sinister Assault. So Rhino's bringing his buddies to the table today. We've got Dr. Octopus, we've got Electro, we've got the Vulture, also Kraven the Hunter, Scorpion, and Hobgoblin. These guys, who you'll recognize as the Sinister Six, is going to be put into our encounter deck today, and they are all elite minions, and they're also all villainous. So Rhino gets quite a boost to his encounter deck today. So I'll go ahead and shuffle those cards in. And you may wonder, well, who's Rhino going to play against? Who else but the Amazing Spider-Man? Some of my favorite storylines with Spider-Man has to do with him versus the Sinister Six. Rhino has always been one of my favorite villains, as well as many of the guys you see here in that encounter set. And there's also Sandman in there. I like Sandman. There's the Shocker. I like Shocker. So we're going to be playing with Mr. Peter Parker today. So he comes into play with 10 hit points. He is a scientist who generates a mental resource. And of course, on his Spider-Man side, he gets a boost when he's attacked. He gets to draw 1 card. He's 1 thwart, 2 attack, and 3 defense. We're going to be playing Spider-Man in his protection aspect today. So this could be a really slow burn. So as far as our setup is concerned on our main scheme, that's complete. We get to flip over to stage 1B. When this stage is completed, I lose the game. So we're all set up other than to draw our hand size of 6, and let's get started. So we have the Spider Tracer, and we draw Unflappable. We also draw Defiance and Jocasta. We also draw the Genius card, and we have Expert Defense. So we can, well, you know what, I think I may just use this as my opening hand. Let me see what kind of economy I've got. The Spider Tracer's not going to do us any good, but it might be good for a resource if we want to put out Jocasta, Unflappable, Defiance. Nope, we're going to have to discard some cards. So I think we'll get rid of Expert Defense and the Spider Tracer. Yep, we'll discard those 2. And we'll also discard Defiance. We'll hang on to Unflappable, Genius, and Jocasta. And we draw the Swinging Web Kick, as well as a Backflip and an Energy Barrier. So Unflappable says, after you defend against an attack and take no damage, exhaust Unflappable and draw 1 card. Jocasta reads, after Jocasta enters play, choose a defense event in your discard pile and attach it to her face down. So I think we'll do that. We'll put Jocasta out. And we will spend 2 resources plus the mental resource that Peter Parker generates to put out Jocasta, and she allows me to go find a defense event in my discard pile, which we're going to pick this defense event, Expert Defense. When your hero defends against an attack, it gets +3 for that attack. So she reads that I can play an event attached to her as if it were in my hand. And it's a 0-cost event, so it won't cost us anything to play. So we'll put that underneath Jocasta for now. I do like Unflappable because it allows me to draw an extra card. So we'll put that also on the table for 1. Yep. Hate to lose my energy barrier. When you take any amount of damage, remove 1 reflection counter from. Yeah, we'll put Unflappable on the table for now. And we will use the backflip for that. No, we'll hang on to backflip. Swinging web kick, energy barrier. We got to spend 1 for that Unflappable card. So I think we'll spend the energy barrier for that. Yep, that's what we'll do. So we'll flip over to our Peter Parker Spider-Man side, and Jocasta and Spider-Man are both going to thwart threat off of Breaking and Taken, 2 and 1. Whenever she removes threat, she takes 2 consequential damage, but that does get rid of the Breaking and Taken, which we absolutely need to do. With those big, beefy minions running around in that encounter deck, we don't want to draw any more cards than we have to. So we'll ready Spider-Man, and we'll ready Jocasta, and we'll get to draw ourselves 3 more cards. So we'll draw Anticipation and Defensive Stance, and we'll also draw Energy. Nice. That's a nice hand going into the next round. So Rhino is going to place 1 threat on the break-in, and he's going to, that's not a threat, that's a damage. We'll place 1 threat on the break-in, and the Rhino is going to attack Spider-Man. So I get to draw 1 card because of that. So we'll draw this one here, Electrostatic Armor, and Spider-Man's going to defend. And he's going to use this defense card right here, which is Expert Defense. When your hero defends against an attack, it gets +3 for that attack, so that makes his defense 6. So Rhino's going to attack with 3, plus 3 is 6, so he takes no damage from that attack. So we will exhaust Unflappable, and we'll draw ourselves another card. So now we've drawn Venom. Venom, after you reveal an encounter card, deal 1 damage to Venom, deal damage to an enemy equal to the number of icons on that card's boost area, and he comes into play with a hazard icon on him. So he would, if he's on the table, force extra card draws. So that will end Rhino's attack. So now we draw our encounter card, and it is Charge. When Rhino attacks, the attack gains overkill. Excess damage is dealt to me. So, but then it's discarded at the end of that attack. Okay. So we have a nice hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards going into our next round. We got Swinging Web Kick, and we have Venom that we could use. Or Anticipation. When you engage a minion, discard this card and ready your hero. Defensive Stance says when you would take any amount of damage, discard Defensive Stance and prevent 3 of that damage. Like that. And Electrostatic Armor says after you defend against an attack, deal 1 damage to the attacking character. So I think we will put Venom on the table. We want Venom out there. Or we do want to do a Swinging Web Kick. So I think I'll use Anticipation and Backflip. Nope. I've got that energy card. So I can use Energy and Backflip to play the Swinging Web Kick onto Rhino. So that'll deal 8 damage to Rhino. So that'll knock him down to 7. And then we can spend let's see, electrostatic armor. After you defend against an attack, deal 1 damage to the attacking character. I like that one. And I also like defensive stance. When you take any amount of damage, discard defensive stance and prevent 3 of that damage. How about we put out defensive stance? Put that out for 2, and we'll ready everything. The 2 that we'll spend is electrostatic armor and anticipation. And we will draw ourselves up 4 cards. So we have another swinging web kick, the black cat, counterpunch, and dauntless. So those are our 5 cards going into our next turn. So Rhino is going to place 1 threat on the main scheme. Rhino is going to attack Spider-Man. He's got that charge, so we will defend it. And we will defend it for... And we draw a card because of that attack. So we draw a backflip. That's nice. Beautiful. Love it. So yeah, we'll... when you take any amount of damage from an attack, prevent all that damage. After you defend against an attack, take no damage. So yeah, we can leave defensive stance on the table. We won't have to use that. So Rhino is going to attack for 3 plus 3 and another 3, so he attacks for 9 onto Spider-Man. We will backflip that. So when you would take any amount of damage from an attack, prevent all of that damage. And then we will play the counter punch. So after your hero defends against an enemy attack, deal damage equal to your hero's attack. I think first we'll do this. Draw a card. It's hard to ignore. And yeah, we'll go ahead and play that counter punch. After your hero defends against an enemy attack, deal damage to that enemy equal to your hero's attack. So we'll do 2 damage to the Rhino. Knocks him down to 5. And we'll draw our encounter card. Well, that charge card is discarded. And so we draw our encounter card, and our counter card is the Scorpion. He comes into play with a toughness card. He is villainous. After Scorpion attacks and damages the character, stun that character. If it's already stunned, deal 2 damage to it. So Scorpion comes into play with a tough card on him. So now we start to see some of those tough minions coming out onto the table. All right. So, and he also has, so he's just tough. Boy. If we put Black Cat out, that would cost us 2. And we can draw 2 cards. Actually, we would discard top 2 cards and draw any that have a mental resource. I don't have that many mental resources in this deck. So it's probably not the best card to play right now. That Venom is tough. He's pretty good. I like Venom a lot. And if I put Venom on the table, we could clear Rhino. We could knock Rhino all the way down. Or if we play that swinging web kick, we could take Rhino all the way down and not have to use. Dauntless and hard to ignore are good as well. After your hero defends against an attack, takes no damage, exhaust hard to ignore, remove 1 threat from the main scheme. Boy, there's a lot of good cards in my hand here. It's hard to know what to play. And I like Venom. But Venom's got that double-edged sword on there. How about we do this? How about, does he respond anyway after Scorpion attacks and damages a character? So he's going to draw a card. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm almost afraid to put Venom out right now. Swinging Web Kick would knock Rhino all the way down. Or it would take out the Scorpion and we wouldn't have to worry about him anymore. Why don't we do that? Why don't we do 1 damage from Jocasta onto the Scorpion, which essentially just knocks off his tough card. But Jocasta's gone. Then we could do that Swinging Web Kick to knock out the Scorpion. At least he'll be gone. And I think that's a great idea, personally. So how about we do that? We'll spend Venom, and we'll spend Hard to Ignore or Dauntless. Dauntless says when your remaining hit points, you gain Retaliate. Hard to Ignore removes a threat from the main scheme. It's basically the same card, only one removes threat. And you know what? That might be more important in this game. So let's spend those 3 resources here. Black Cat, Venom, and Dauntless to do 8 damage onto Scorpion. That just at least gets Scorpion off the table. We'll remove 1 threat with Spider-Man. And then we flip over to our Peter Parker side, so he's got that mental resource that we could use to put out Hard to Ignore. After your hero defends against an attack, takes no damage, exhaust Hard to Ignore, remove 1 threat from the main scheme. That's important, I think, when you're facing Rhino with such a low threat threshold. So we'll ready Peter Parker. Unflappable comes up. Defensive stance still on the table. We'll draw up our hand size of 6. So we have Webbed Up, the Web Shooter, Defiance, Return the Favor, Webbed Up, and a Strength card. Okay, so we place 1 threat on the main scheme. Rhino is going to scheme for 1. Plus 2 is 3. So quickly, that threat goes up to 5. Do that, keep better track. And now we draw our encounter card. And our encounter card reads, attached to Rhino, force interrupt. When any amount of damage would be dealt to Rhino, place it here instead. Then if there's at least 5 damage here, discard armored Rhino suit. Okay. We could do that. So Peter Parker, he's going to put out that Web Shooter. And that's going to give us 3 counters. We'll use our mental resource to do that. And then we'll flip over to our Spider-Man side. Return the Favor. Hero action. Discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until you discard a Treachery. Reveal that Treachery. Deal 5 damage to the villain. How about it? Shall we? Let's do it. We'll return the Favor. Discard cards from the top of the encounter deck. So our first one is a Treachery card. It's an advance. Oof. Do I have a way to cancel that advance? I don't have a way to cancel that advance. Let's see what we draw. Ooh. That could be the mistake of the day. It is a 1, and a 1 is 2. The break-in. Ouch. The break-in scheme's out. That card kills me so many times. The advance card. Oh well. I tell you what, I'm going to call an end to this video, and I'm going to shoot another one. So hang to. We'll go ahead and end this one for now. You can finish it by looking at this grin here on Mr. Red Skull. I've seen this more times than I care to mention. But anyhow, that's the end of this game, folks. Thanks for watching today. I'm the Board Game Lawyer, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.